Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It is now 6 o'clock. Before I call Sumter County Council regular meeting to order for tonight, I'd like to recognize some special guests that we have seated to my left. This is the Student Government Association for Reagan Preparatory Christian Academy. And I'd like to thank Dr. Lenore Jackson, who is their advisor, for bringing them forward. We all stand, please. They're here to see the county government in action, so thank you for coming. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to call the Sumter County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, October 22nd to order. May we all please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance. Ms. B, welcome back. And would you please give us our invocation?
Sure. Let us pray. Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we do acknowledge you as the one in whom we live, move, and have our being. We understand that the earth is yours and the fullness thereof, and that we are serving because of your goodness. And we thank you for being able to come back to the table again to discuss the business that you have placed before us. We ask your blessings upon all those who are here with us this evening, especially the children. We ask that you help us to be a living example for them. They are our future. And we thank you for blessing them and blessing their leaders to bring them to see local government in action. As always, we ask that you always protect our men and women in uniform, especially those who are serving in harm's way. Let them know that they are not forgotten. And as we go through our agenda for this evening, we ask that you help us to have clarity of mind, understanding, and wisdom to do the job that you have placed before us. Help us to always be good stewards of what you have blessed us with, and to be kind-hearted and loving to one another. These are all blessings we ask and thank for in the name of your Son, Jesus our Savior. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no changes.
What's the pleasure of council? Move for approval. Second. Moved and properly second that we approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We have minutes from our meeting on October the 8th. What is council's pleasure? Second. Been moved and properly seconded that we approve our minutes from our meeting on October the 8th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is land use matters and rezoning request, MA 24-02. Ms. Rudman.
Good evening, Hillary Rubin for planning staff. MA 2402 is the comprehensive plan 5-year update. This is being brought forward by Sumter County, in particular, planning staff. We are mandated by state law every 5 years to review our comprehensive land use plan and make any relevant updates that we see necessary. As you'll recall, our comprehensive plan was adopted in December of 2019, prior to the issuance of the 2020 census count numbers. It took them quite a time to get those numbers out because of COVID. So the amendments that you're seeing here are really driven by new census data from the 2020 census and updated American Community Survey data and economic data. So this is really just a 5-year update to the 2040 plan. It is not a major overhaul. We are not making any changes to existing policy. We're merely updating demographic information related to population, housing, and economics, including the tables, graphs, maps, etc., to capture that latest census data. And we're making minor revisions to the conservation planning area based on updated and newly adopted floodplain boundaries. As you'll recall, we adopted new maps in October of 2022, which did change the size and shape of the special flood hazard area parts of the community. So we made it a little bit bigger some places, a little bit smaller other places, and then whatever the adjacent comp plan district was, if it got smaller, we just made the property that designation. There are other minor changes and updates to descriptions and text references that are as a result of those updates to the demography. So from the population element, you can see that the county itself, which is in maroon, has been pretty stable in its population since 1990, but you've seen some increase in the city's overall population. That is just because of annexations that have happened in the city. So we haven't had necessarily a population increase in the city, but there has been changes in the size of the city limits. But the overall county population has remained pretty stable at around 107,000 people. We have seen some changes in population from the 2010 to the 2020 census. The areas that you see in the darkest red lost the most population. The areas that you see in the most intense blue saw population increase. The median age over time has increased in the last 10 years, so we are seeing an aging population in the community. You all have probably noticed that Sumter is attractive for retirees, and that is being reflected in our census data. In terms of the housing element, in the last 20 years, we have seen an increase in housing stock without necessarily a corresponding increase in population. A lot of this has to do with replacing aging housing. At one point, we had a large number of manufactured homes in the community that over the last couple of decades have been replaced with site-built structures, so that has impacted housing. We have also seen some pent-up demand for new construction, but at the same time, we've had some, at least in the city center and to a smaller degree in the county, older dilapidated housing structures have also been removed. The county itself has a higher owner occupancy rate than the city. You have a pretty much neck and neck in the city with renter and owner occupied. The county has a larger number of owner occupied units, with about over 65% of housing units in the county being owner occupied versus renter. So the blue is rental units, the maroon is owner occupied. Median income, we have seen some increases over time. So our median income in the last 10 years is going up in parts of the city and county. And I think we can attribute that to some of the economic development that we've seen in the last 15 years. And then the age of the housing stock, we had a pretty big boom in the last 20 years of construction. It kind of started right around the time I started my career here, and that is showing and panning out in our census data. As far as the economic development element, we do update the median household income. You're seeing that also impacted. And then we see some changes in the labor force from 2008 to 2024. Our labor force has actually gotten a bit smaller. I don't really know what we can attribute that to, but it has a bit of a downward trend. You can also see this in the percent of population with at least high school diploma in the community. I'm sorry, wrong slide. My apologies. This is the percent unemployed. That big spike that you see is actually during COVID. So we are starting to rebound from that, and we actually have lower unemployment numbers than we had in 2015. High school education numbers are going up in our community as they are for the state as a whole. So this is a positive note. As well as the number of people with at least a bachelor's degree in our community. So that number is also showing a positive upward trend. As I said, in terms of the land use element, it's going to remain much unchanged. The areas you're primarily going to see some differences are in those big green areas, which are our conservation preservation areas. They're going to be impacted by the change in the floodplain boundaries. And then this is just an agreement of the city to get a better scale. So this is the city's floodplain boundary changes, the areas that you see that are in, let me take my glasses off to read, that are in light green are going to be the newer areas that are being added, the areas that are in dark blue are being pulled out, and the same is reflected for the county. This is purely based off of these floodplain data. Planning Commission did recommend approval of this request. They have also signed a resolution in compliance with state law recommending the recommendations to adopt this. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments from the group?
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rubin, this is some very good information. Do you mind forwarding me a copy of that presentation?
Happy to.
Send it to Ms. Blandon so she can send it to everybody.
I think Ms. Blandon has a copy, so I'll verify that she's got the latest version.
Okay, what is council?
Move it first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we have first reading on MO 2402, which is the 2040 comprehensive plan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is rezoning request number 2415, Ms. Rubin.
Before I get started on these rezoning public hearings, I would like to apologize publicly to anybody that got a meeting notice in the mail with the incorrect date. Just so council knows, the dates that were on the legal ad in the paper were correct, and the dates that were on the public property postings were correct. And we also resent notices out to the individuals that got the wrong dates. And my apologies to anybody that came up here last Tuesday night expecting to see a meeting. This is probably the first time in my career that's happened, and I apologize. We will not have it happen again. So,
Before you move on, have you been in contact with any other people that contacted you?
I was out of town last week, but my staff did tell me that they talked to approximately a dozen people last week and fielded a lot of phone calls, which is how they found out that they had sent out the wrong meeting date. And then they did send out an updated meeting date flyer. And we have also, just as late as today, talked to some local citizens regarding some of the requests on the agenda this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. RZ 2415 is at 2735 Bird Street. Mr. Walberto Reyes-O'Leary is here to speak on behalf of the request of the property owner. She'll recall this is a request to rezone 4.79 acres that split zone from R9 and general commercial to agricultural conservation. It is a piece of property that is bisected by a private section of Bird Street in the county. It has a small section that is zoned general commercial because it's within 300 feet of Thomas Sumter Highway. The property itself is primarily wooded. And as you can see, this split zone, Bird Street itself is actually a private road, so the section that goes through the property is in fact part of Mr. Reyes-O'Leary's property. The property is not in any accident potential zones or in any DNL contours, but it is inside a noise attenuation zone. This does not impact property use from a regulatory standpoint. It is also influenced by a special flood hazard area known as an unnumbered A zone on the northern portion of the property, which functionally makes the area to the south of the Bird Street right-of-way actually the developable area of the property. It is in the conservation preservation as well as the military protection planning area. And when we look at rezoning requests in these two districts, we look at districts that have less intense use entitlements. So the request to go to agricultural conservation from residential 9 is actually a less intense use than the R9 and GC designation. So we do find that from a technical standpoint, this request is compatible with the plan. It is our understanding that the applicant is requesting this rezoning so they can put a single manufactured home on the property for their own dwelling. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this request. It is in general alignment with the 2040 comprehensive plan, and rezoning to AC from R9 will significantly reduce the possibility of residential density on this tract. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Prior to council taking action on second reading, we will hold a public hearing on this rezoning request. I now declare the public comment portion open. Anyone wishing to speak for or against rezoning request number 24-15, please proceed to the podium and state your name for the record. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Move for approval. Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that we have second reading on RC 2415. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed. RZ 2415, second reading is passed. RZ 2416.
RZ 2416 is at 1080 West Burlington Road. Mr. Matt Culp is here as a representative and authorized agent for the property owner. Pardon me. This is a request to rezone 3 adjoining parcels from agricultural conservation to heavy industrial. That acreage totals approximately 41.7 acres. These are the properties in question that are part of that request. They are just south of the Sumter County Airport, and part of the property is in alignment with the dirt runway that is part of the airport. It's not in alignment with the major runway that large planes land on. It's the smaller runway. The adjacent zoning is conservation preservation as well as heavy industrial. The area of CP on this property was done when the original industrial park was done based off of some wetlands research and findings. It is not the intent, although, to develop that area, and it is outside of this rezoning request. So as I said, it is to go from EC to heavy industrial. The applicant intends to develop the site for a metal manufacturing facility if successfully rezoned. However, the rezoning is required in order to do that intended use, but the only 2 zoning districts that that use are permitted in by right is heavy industrial and light industrial warehouse. This is how the property looks today. It is currently an agricultural field, sometimes under cultivation, I believe maybe right now. And when we look at the comprehensive land use plan, it's actually in a priority economic development plan area, which is supportive of industrial designation. These are the parts of the community that we want to direct this type of development to. So we do find that rezoning to heavy industrial is reasonable given the comp plan designation. As I said, it is in alignment with the runway for the airport. So there are some imaginary surfaces in the airport that will come into play in the future development on this tract. It will just impact the overall height of any structure, but we'd be looking at something around 35 feet being feasible on this property. Anything much higher than that would not be possible. It would also prohibit the development of anything that has large, massive smokestacks or creates any sort of air hazard because of height. Planning Commission did recommend approval of this request. The request for rezoning to heavy industrial is supported by the comprehensive plan. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Thank you, Ms. Rubin. Prior to action by council on second reading, we will have a public hearing. I now declare a public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak for or against RZ 2416, please proceed to the podium and state your name for the record.
Mr. Chairman, members of the County Council, I'm Matt Culp. I'm here, I represent the property owner and the industrial prospect. The industrial prospect is currently in Sumter, plans on expanding the operation. We'll be building approximately a 60,000 square foot facility, cost of about 12 to 15 million. We'll be adding on about 40, 45 more jobs. So their total employment will reach 145 people employed in Sumter. The fact that it's in the airport area, the height that they're building will not interfere with any traffic of airplanes over the site. The site is part of it is open land, is good high ground. That's where the factory will be located. It has a great buffer of trees around it, which will be left as a natural buffer area. And the client has already purchased 70 acres to the south of this site that also will be added to this total. So they'll have over about 112 acres. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Cole? Thank you, Mr. Cole.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public comment is closed. What's the pleasure of council?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we have second reading on RZ 2416. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed. RZ 2416, second reading is passed. RZ 2418, 4520 Pinewood Road.
RZ 2418 is for 4520 Pinewood Road as well as 4035 Golden Bay Drive. These are two separate parcels being reviewed as one application. We do have one of the property owners here to speak on behalf of the request. It is to rezone two tracts approximately 9.11 acres in size from conservation preservation to agricultural conservation. It is comprised of two parcels that have limited road frontage. One of the parcels is completely landlocked. The other has the road frontage on Pinewood Road. This is what it looks like today. It is located in what you would probably consider a residential enclave in this area. Much of the property in this area that has homes on it doesn't meet the minimum lot size for the CP zoning district. And those that do are not substantially large enough to subdivide to do lifetime conveyances to family because of the restrictive nature of the CP district. This request is really coming out of a desire for the property owners, one, to be able to do lifetime conveyance of the property of less than 2 acres to family members because they don't have sufficient land, as well as the possibility for future development of their existing home-based business into a more permanent commercial site, which the CP district does not permit. When we look at rezoning requests, we look at what the comprehensive land use plan says. This is in the military protection planning area, not because it is adjacent to Shaw Air Force Base, but because it is in the area of Point Site Electronic Combat Range. When we look at the military protection planning area, we look at zoning districts that control density and residential development to at least 1 unit per acre or greater. So both the CP district and the AC district both achieve those those objectives. So the county does support very low density in this comprehensive plan district. Both AC and CP serve that purpose. The primary difference between those two districts is that AC is more permissive for the possibility of non-residential development, non-agricultural development, and it does allow smaller lot sizes as small as 1 unit per acre. The property, like I said, is in the MTA. In general, the request is in general alignment with those policies. However, I will note that there are 2 additional properties within a mile of this site that have actually gone to the Board of Zoning Appeals within the last year to get variances to go lower than the 2 acre threshold in order to subdivide their tracts for family members based on existing patterns of development. And we are aware that if this is successfully rezoned to AC, there may be other applications pending in the future for similar requests. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Prior to council taking action, we have a public hearing. Now declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this rezoning request, please proceed to the podium and state your name for the record, please.
My name is Clarence Haslam.
Your last name, sir, I'm sorry.
Haslam, Haslam. Me and my son were looking for property and we've come across this piece of land. We decided to buy the land. In communication with the lady that was selling the land, said that there was 3 septic tanks and 3 wells on this property. And that's one of the reasons that we bought it, because we didn't know that there was any zoning, had to be 5 acres or whatever. In the process of all that, I haven't talked to other people about it, but if I'd have known in the process, my son, the piece of land that he got, there was a mobile home already there, and he moved that out and he put a double wide in over there, and I put one on my side of the brand new mobile home with the option of hoping to be able to put my daughter beside me. Just me, kind of like me being a family, you know, me and mom was getting up in some age. We want, you know, the family to be around in case we need help or whatever. And that was the whole purpose of buying the property, knowing that everything was there to just move in and be able to, and you know, get started being in the community and being part of the neighborhood down there. That was the whole desire. But we got to get it down to where we can, y'all allow us to be able to put another mobile home over there so she can have her place and we can have ours. But that was the whole purpose of buying this property out there.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway.
Any questions?
No, sir. Oh. Anyone else?
Hi, I live like behind him. It's hard for me to hear because I can't hear you guys.
Okay. Please state your name for the record.
Janet Godin. Yeah, my house is here and his house is kind of in my backyard. So I'm very concerned about all the noise that's already there. And there's no respect at all for your boundaries. And I thought there was a leash law in this town. He doesn't leash his dogs. So I don't know what his plans are for that property, but I already know that there's been other people that have tried to put other houses on the property that they already had, and you guys said no. So it should still be no. We don't need any more noise and people in that area. It's quiet, and that's how I'd like it to be. Quiet and respectful. His dogs have gone off after my ducks quite a few times. So if he destroys my ducks, he will know it. So, because they're trying to have babies, and the dogs keep going to the shed that I have them in, so they're not laying on them like they should. So there's been a lot of problems. I call the police and nobody shows up. So that's my take on all this.
Thank you, Ms. Goldman.
Could I address one more time, please?
No, not at this time, Mr. Awesome. But if it's approved, y'all will have to work that out amongst you, but anybody else? We shouldn't speak.
My name is Lawrence Godin. I own the property at 4550 Pinewood Road, adjacent to 4035 Golden Bay Drive, and also 4020 Pinewood Road. I bought that piece of property last year. I moved down from Massachusetts when I retired. I bought that piece of property. It was quiet until these people bought the property on 4020. They ran over my bushes since then, since last summer, with their four-wheelers and stuff onto my property and everything else. Although he replaced a couple of bushes that they did take over, they ran over. But since they put that other double wide behind my house, these people here, they have no, I don't want to use any cuss words, but they have no knowledge of how to behave. My wife has been chased by their pit bulls today again. This is the fourth time that they've chased her down. Those dogs aren't leashed on their property. There's no fence protecting our property from theirs. And if that's going to continue to happen, you know, something's going to happen to those dogs. Guaranteed. They won't be alive, but something will happen to them. But I prefer to see that conservation land remain conservation land and not agricultural land. I know he wants to put another couple of modular homes in there for his family, but what is their family going to be like compared to what there is today? To me, you know, they're not very friendly people, in my estimation. You know, one of them waved to me one time while I was going to get my mail out of the mailbox. That's the only time. Other than that, they raise havoc going up and down Golden Bay Drive on their four-wheelers, thinking that they own the whole kit and caboodle parcel of land up and down the road, even though it's a private road, a dead end, I believe. I'm not quite sure. But I prefer to see it remain conservation land than agricultural land. Even though they have a couple of wells in there, you know, myself, it's been conservation land for a long period of time. I'd like to see it remain that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Gabrielle Harrison. I own the property directly across from him, 47 Golden Drive. I am speaking for myself and for my father. While we do not own any of the property on his side of the road, the properties on the other side belong to my family. It's been in our family for generations, passed down from great grandpas, and we live is a family community basically. With my aunts, my uncles, my grandpa used to live right across the street from me. We've been there for forever, and I and my father would not like to see it become a trailer park basically. We would like to keep it kind of like they were saying, quiet, a nice neighborhood to pass down from generation to generation, and not for it to become just whatever he's planning to do with so many other people moving into the land. So we would like to keep it. We would like for it to stay the way it is. We would not like any more people, I guess, around us, if possible. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Hodge. I own the property at 4575 Roof. I don't want to see any more trailers in the local area. Just because we purchased one of the brick homes in the area, I don't want to see the property value depreciate. I know that might sound kind of harsh for anybody else, but we own over 5 acres there. We don't plan to build there. I don't see why anybody else should. Not trying to tell anybody else what to do with their property, but I don't want to see my property value depreciate for somebody else's choices. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge.
My name is Debbie Devins, and I own the property on front and side. I own the 4460 and 4500 Pinewood Road. I would just like to reiterate everything that everyone has said in the past. It has turned into major chaos since they've moved into the community. It is my understanding that they want to put 7 trailers in these 2 parcels of land. I do not want that. I don't want the property of a mobile home, the mobile home park there. I don't have problems with mobile homes. I lived in them. There's nothing wrong with mobile homes. But I do not want a mobile home park there. And if you have 7 mobile homes there, you're gonna have a mobile home park. And when he purchased the land, he knew, or should have known, that in '99, it was a countywide zoning passed. And he should have researched it and done his due diligence whenever he purchased the land. Thank you. Any questions?
Anyone else? First? Mr. Haslund, do you want to address some of those concerns?
In the behalf of the followers, I have a 2-year-old, I have a 5-year-old, and I have a 7-year-old grandkid, and they like to ride the four-wheelers. Since I found out that it's bothered her being noisy, I've told them to stay on the bottom side of my land and ride around between my house and my son's house and stay over there so it don't bother me. On the behalf of the animals, we keep our dogs in the house. The only time we let them out is when they need to go out and use the restroom. If they have been assaulted or anything of the dogs, I do not know nothing of that. 90% of the time, them dogs are fine. If I'm in the yard, they're with me. They're not out roaming around, they're with me out here. if I go wandering in the yard, so I don't want nobody to say that they're getting hurt or getting bothered by a dog. If they are, I'll do what I can to put them up, keep them, because I don't want nobody, I don't have no mean animals around my house. So, you know, as far as a trailer park, no, I don't want no trailer park. I want a home for my daughter, a home for myself, and a home for my son. That's all I want. It ain't like I'm gonna put 7 trailers out there, because I can't afford 7 trailers. I'm trying to retire. I ain't trying to go into business. Thank you.
Mr. Wood, can you clarify, are they allowed to put any more trailers on there than any?
So because of the limited amount of road frontage that Mr. Haslam has, the only way he could divide the property would be through a lifetime family conveyance. Because it's currently zoned CP, he does not have sufficient land to do a lifetime family conveyance, which requires a minimum of 2 acres to convey to a family member, with the remainder of the property complying with the minimum standards for the CP district. Based on the size and shape of his property, because there's only 140 feet of street frontage on the entire tract, he could split it right in half, assuming he didn't already have a house in the middle, to create 2 fee simple lots out of it, or he could do a lifetime family conveyance of a piece in the back that would be landlocked, and would have restrictions on what it can be used for. Additionally, this property is not served by public sewer and public water. It is served by well and septic tank, which further limits the ability to develop the property in compliance with environmental regulations, because the separation you have to have from the well and septic tank. Because of the size and shape of the property, even if it was rezoned to agricultural conservation, the practicality of creating 7 lots out of it is impossible. And manufactured home parks are not allowed in the agricultural zoning district, so each manufactured home would have to be on its own 1 acre parcel of land. So that's the technicalities of it.
Thank you, Mr.
It could be a possibility of, instead of rezoning the entire 9 acres, reserving 5 acres to stay in CP and just rezoning the 4, right?
The minimum standalone zoning area to create a standalone district would be 2 acres, so you would not have to do the entire acreage. There could be a lesser amount. The issue that would come into play would be determining what that lesser amount is from a geographic standpoint, so that we can ensure that we can properly update the zoning map. But as long as a minimum of 2 acres is rezoned, then you will not be creating a situation of spot zoning for our ordinance.
So you could keep 5 in the CP and rezone it.
You could keep 7 acres in CP and then just do 2 acres in AC. It would fundamentally bar the remainder of the property from being used for.
And you could then divide the 2 acres into 2 ones and put something on each one of those, 1 on the
Potentially, depending on the soil and septic tank location. There's a lot of questions that have to be answered about that.
Mr. Chairman, I would prefer to defer this and have a chance to go. I have not had a chance to ride down. I had no idea we would have this kind of discussions on it. I have concerns, so I would like to go put my eyes on it.
Okay, and I would agree. I think we need more information. What I'm hearing is that there are already 2 mobile homes on the property.
There's actually 2 separate parcels there, so each parcel has a home on it.
I see. And you mentioned that a portion of one of the parcels is landlocked.
Actually, an entire tract is landlocked.
The
The only piece that is not belongs to Mr. Haslam. The property that's deeded to his son is landlocked.
Okay, so how would that affect what they do, what they can or cannot do?
The Sumter County Zoning and Development Standards Ordinance requires that all fee simple lots that are able to be marketed outside of a family relationship have a minimum of 60 feet of frontage on a public road or a road that meets public standards. So that essentially means a paved road. The only public road that meets, or road that meets public standards in this instance is Pinewood Road. So all of the frontage for this 9 acres is approximately 140 feet. You see as the pike stem. Let me turn my laser pointer on here. Can you see that on your monitor? Right here. That's the only area of road frontage. There's actually a property line that runs right here that creates a lot here, and then there's a lot here. So there's actually 2 separate tracks that are part of this request.
And with that pointer there, which part is land? You said the whole
This
part?
piece back here
Oh,
is the landlocked tract. This piece up here has 140 feet of road frontage.
That property line on the landlocked could be moved where it would have.
There could be parcel reconfiguration. All of that depends on whether there is in fact financial encumbrances on any of the property. If they have any financing on the land through a bank, they'd have to get permission from the bank to move those property lines. I do not know what the situation is with that, but as you guys may be familiar with, you only owe the bank money until they say you can have your house. So I don't know what the situation is, but if there's any financial encumbrances on the property, that would limit the ability to move parcel boundaries without consent of the lending institution.
Those 2 houses are those 2 buildings on either side of that, you see what I'm talking about?
So there's a house here.
No, up front,
There's,
on Pinewood Road.
okay. It looks like I think there's I can't tell from this.
There's
He's coming on the east side
on
of the
each
road.
side of the frontage.
Okay, there's a house here.
That's mine.
And there's a house here, and there's a house here. I believe Ms. Gettings owns these properties, and Mr. and Mrs. Bowden own this piece.
can you point out where that road is? Some of the neighbors
Golden
mentioned.
Bay Road is right here.
Is that the road that?
This property is addressed off of Golden Bay. So I'm assuming it's addressed as accessing from Golden Bay from Pinewood Road. And then this property is addressed on Pinewood Road, so I assume that the driveway is right here.
Any further questions or discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
What?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noted that in Mr. Ruthman's presentation this week and last week, the property is within the military protection planning area. She also mentioned that there are other owners in the area interested in rezoning, and similar cases in this vicinity may be forthcoming. That gives me some concern. And then last but not least, the concern around neighbors not being able to successfully engage in neighborly conduct gives me major concern. And so I think the councilman from Wilson Hall has a motion that he's going to put up that I plan to vote with him on, because I do have concerns as well from the majority of the community.
We'll make a motion.
Vote to defer.
Second. We'll move to properly seconded that we defer. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The zoning request has been deferred.
For those in the audience that want to understand that means, council hasn't taken action on this to approve or deny it. It will likely come back to the next meeting for additional conversation and discussion.
Mr. Chairman, in the interim, is there a vehicle that could be used that will allow the current residents and the potential applicants to maybe have a conversation to see if there's some things that can be put in place that provide
out to try and come to some amicable conclusion, I would suggest that they do that. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 24-1011.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, you have before you an ordinance to approve the sale of 0.226 acres of property on Broad Street. The Sumter County DOT plans to improve the intersection of St. Paul's Church Road and Broad Street, and in order to improve that intersection, they need to acquire a little property from the flag park owned by the city and the county. So the SCDOT has offered a total of $17,739 for this piece of property. We have to take any questions prior to first reading.
Any questions? Move to properly seconded that we approve ordinance number 24-1011 first reading. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed. Ordinance 24-1011 is approved. Ordinance 24-1010 second reading.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, no changes since first reading, but again, this was an ordinance to put the property that Black Nickel purchased into the Sumter County Multi-County Park, which we agreed to do as part of the FEMA tax agreement that passed previously.
Second. Well, this is, no public hearing required, okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Come down to committee reports, Portsmouth County Council members, and other meetings, trainings.
Mr. Chairman, real briefly, because I got to go back to work, for Mrs. Gaines's sake, we did have two acts. I'm waiting on a report. I asked him to send me, he did not send the report. So again, I will send you, if you'd like to see the rendering of 378.
Yes.
That's a big project, it's a nice rendering, it's a video. Yeah, and I like to show the council, I'm trying to get it, I was hoping you sent me, but now Kyle's not. So again, you might Kyle send it to May or me and get it to council, if we can show council at the next meeting, please. Or send it to me anyway, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, monthly reports, Ms. Flannery.
We're still on committee reports.
Yes, if you have one.
Yeah, I had a couple of issues. The first issue, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for recognizing me, involves a couple of the commercials that I have seen related to the Penny for Progress. As I mentioned to you privately, I've gotten some phone calls about two of them in particular. One regarding the commercial that talks about they are not like us, which some in the community find offensive. The second one is related to a commercial where there are two gentlemen talking about a country dog and a city dog. We've gotten calls about those two as well. Regardless of what your position is on the penny tax, whether you support it or whether you don't support it, these kinds of presentations are not helpful to public engagement and dialogue. And as such, they need to be addressed because it's not playing well in the community. I think people can take the position that they want to take without being tactful in using some of the communication language that has been used. So that's my first issue. The second issue involves the Sheriff's Department. I have gathered information about the surrounding counties and what they are now paying their deputies. Kershaw County is at $51,000 a year. Florence is at $54,000 a year. Richland is at 52 plus a year. And Sumter is at $45,000 a so this is just advance notice that this is something we're gonna have to address during our budget cycle. Otherwise, we're not gonna be equipped with the very best and we will not be competitive. So I just share this as something that we need to begin thinking about how we want to address.
I had a conversation with the sheriff today on another matter, and he's gonna bring that to us, so we'll be prepared to talk about that.
Good. But last issue is, appreciate the work that staff has done on the emergency roads issue. I think as soon as possible, we should have a committee meeting. I know the information and notes has been sent out to all council members. I would ask that you review those notes. And Ms. Landon, if you could run Councilman Dayton a hard copy.
I should do
Okay. And because there are a couple of things that I think that the committee will want to address before we get too far in the process, particularly around the scoring and needs assessment. There are a few things that I'd like to see amended, and in particular, I think the Sheriff's Department also needs to be a partner in the assessment process, since they travel and patrol the roads more than EMS and the fire department. They're on the roads every day. And so I think they absolutely have to be a part of the process, but we can work through all of that in our work session. It's not something that we cannot overcome. But I just didn't want staff to get too far down the line, because I think there's some adjustments that we need to make.
Well, may I say this, that the stuff that staff has put together to present to us is just that, a presentation. It is up to council to come up with whatever rules and regulations and whatever. It's not gonna be up to staff, it's gonna be up to us.
Right.
So that can be done. Yeah.
And they've done a good job pulling information together.
So can I ask, are you wanting to have a public safety meeting, or you want just public safety, us three to meet?
I want us to have a workshop, but it's open to any council member who'd like to come, and frankly, I don't mind.
Okay.
It's open to the public either.
You want to do that on a regular, as a public works committee, or you want to just do a workshop? Doesn't matter to me, however you want to do it. You
I
just tell me
want
how
to
you-
continue for you to guide it under your committee. I think it would be fruitful if we could meet before the next council meeting. That way we can sort of lay out our thoughts at that time. But no, I don't want to change the process. And so if you and I can agree, like, maybe we could meet next Tuesday, since there's no council meeting, or whatever works for our schedule.
Just let me know.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments.
Mr. Chairman, I'm listening to what Councilman Washington is saying, and I'm kind of leery as to these statements that are being made, that we are not like them or whatever, and city dog and county dog. Where are these commercials being published at? Who is seeing these commercials? That's what I'm concerned with. And who's making them?
They were made by the,
They're on TV, I've seen them. I
The
don't know who's making them, but
they're
I've seen
being
them.
put together by
Edge. The Edge, economic development.
Yeah.
So they're approving these types of commercials that are being advertised on TV,
it's on social media.
on social media. And they're being approved by who? By Edge?
By the edge, yeah.
Yeah.
They're the wing that, we don't have anything to do with it.
I realize that, but I'm concerned about the image of this county when we are putting out advertisements and saying we are not like them or whatever, we're different. That to me conveys up or something that I'm finding that is not pleasant. And all of this is surrounded because of the penny tax? Is that the basis of this?
Yeah.
So we don't find this offensive at all? This is just normal.
I really have not even seen any of the commercials. So when Mr. Washington called me, I called the Economic Development Board and told of the concerns. I don't know if, I don't have the authority to tell them to pull them down or whatever, but I did tell them about it, that what was happening in the community. As far as, Mr. Washington has heard me, I asked the governor at a meeting in Augusta, and he can attest to this. I asked the governor, it was in context doing, we were having a discussion about cities and counties. And I asked the governor, do you know the difference between a city dog and a county dog? It's a metaphor. It's not meant to be derogatory or anything. If somebody took it as that, a lot of people have seen it and didn't take it that way. It's just a metaphor. But I have addressed it with the Economic Development Board. I don't know that they've taken them down or not. I don't know.
Well, for my own information, what is the difference between a city dog and a county dog?
All dogs are county dogs.
All dogs are county dogs.
Right. Because the city is in the county. That's all that means.
So there's no difference between a city dog and a county dog?
No. No,
No, but there's a difference between a county resident and a city resident, and yes, we take offense to it, because I live in the county.
Okay, well, if you take offense to it, I hear you.
Yeah,
There are others that didn't take offense to it, so I mean.
but here's our position, Mr. Chairman. We are responsible for this tax. Sumter County Council is the sponsor of this tax. And we put it on the ballot. We put it on there. And we are asking people to vote one way or another, yes or no. So for us to sit back and say we don't have any responsibility in that, yes we do. We have all the responsibility. Because if people are out here trying to separate us on the fact that one group is better than the other, or the group that want the penny tax is better than a group that don't want the penny tax, then that's an issue that we need to look at. So I'm now, to be honest, and I don't mind saying it, I'm opposed to the penny tax. I don't support the penny tax one bit.
And that's all the order, Mr. Bateman. Up here, in private, you can say what you want to say.
Right.
Up here, we as council members can't say that.
But if we are going to sit back and let advertisement go out about something that we sponsor and not say anything, then we're at fault. Because we're just going to let, so why can't I say I don't support the penny tax when we are allowing other people to separate those who want it and those who don't want it? We're allowing that.
Mr. Bateman, the bottom line is it's going to be decided on the ballot. Those that are against it vote no. Those that are for it vote yes. Let the citizens decide. I am sorry that it was taken out of context. I had nothing to do with it, and neither did anybody up here. And I have expressed to them, when Mr. Washington called me, I called them and told them about the concerns.
Well, okay, but what I'm trying to say, Mr. Chairman, is that we're just going to say, let the citizens vote. They'll vote, yeah or nay. Okay, that's what's going to happen. But as the sponsor of this tax, we should at least come out publicly and say that comments like that are not acceptable. That's because it's on us. We put it out there. So if this is dividing the community, we ought to let it be known that comments like that are not.
Your corrupt police are dividing the community.
Sir.
That's not appropriate, sir.
All right. We'll address it some more.
Okay, so I'm just, so we need to understand that this is our tax. We put that out. And we should make sure that the process is respected. Okay.
Monthly reports, Mr. Lanning.
Yes, sir. All these is this week on October 24th, 5:30. Tickets for the council and other staff members will be active. Military appreciation is Friday, November 1st, and those that are planning to volunteer to help, they should have gotten everything straightened out to get on the base. The building and planning department activity report is in the packet. And the planning department meeting will be October the 23rd, which is tomorrow at 3 on the 4th floor of the city council chambers. And there's an oyster roast on November 21st. Council members are interested in that, please let me know. That's it.
County Administrative report.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to take this opportunity to recognize the work that has been done by Ms. Pat Jefferson and her team over voter registration. Had an opportunity to go by there today at the new polling location on Magnolia, as well as visit the site out at the lane. And extremely proud of the work that they're doing. I've had nothing but positive comments, particularly about the way that things are functioning over at Magnolia. The lines, and I think it's probably going to be unprecedented participation in the early voting, but while the lines sometimes get long, I've been told that the time to get through that line is very quick. And again, that's due to, I think, the due diligence that Ms. Pat and her team have done over the voter registration. So I know they've got a long road ahead of them between now and November, but I'm extremely proud of the work. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Turn now to the public comment portion of our agenda. Citizens desiring to speak during public comment are limited to up to 3 minutes. Comments are to be made through the chairman. If there are any questions, they will be answered after the meeting. Public comment is now open. Anyone wishing to speak, please proceed to the podium and state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Sophie Watson. I live at 5260 Cannery Road. On August 22nd, 2023, this committee approved by unanimous decision to pave Cannery Road, Keystone Road, and Josh Wells Road. I live on Cannery Road. I've seen the guy come out there, the survey, hang them little pink flags. But that's all y'all done. It's been over a year. Every time it rains, half of Keystone Road washes out. Half of Cannery Road washes out. They don't deliver our mail. EMS can't get down there. Well, I'll never see the police down there, so I ain't gonna say they can't get down there. I've been there 7 years. I ain't seen a cop come down Cannery Road since I lived there, and I work from home. So I'm home every day. I'm tired of people driving down Cannery Road, cause it's a dirt road, dumping trash out their car windows in my front yard that I gotta go out there and pick up. When are they gonna pave the road? Y'all approved for it to be paved. When is that gonna happen? The guy came out because I walked out of my door and I talked to the man when he was out there doing the land survey, tying them little pink flags. And he told me y'all sent him out there. That was in March of 2024. It's October. When's it gonna start to be paved? And I'm tired of paying for my car to get repaired. From driving up and down that road every time it washes out. I have to call y'all to get y'all to cut this down on Keystone. You cannot drive off the Keystone onto 441 because it looks like that without sitting halfway out into 441. Every time I call, I get told the same thing. Well, it's not a city road. So here's where the difference between that county dog and that city dog. Well, it's not a city road. We're not responsible to maintain it. The last time the weather was bad and a tree fell, my husband went out there and cut the tree off the road because y'all county city wouldn't come cut the tree off the road so the residents could pass on and off the road. So that's the difference between your county dog and your city dog. And I'd be on that county part of it. So when is the road going to get paved? And when are y'all going to start taking responsibility for the maintenance of these things that happen in the county like you do in the city?
Mr. Chairman, could I just address that?
Ma'am, could you please state your name?
It's Hope, H-O-P-E, last name is Reed, R-E-E-D -Watson, W-A-T-S-O-N, 5260 Cannery Road in Dalzell is my address. You're welcome.
My understanding was we had some issues with the engineering or something. We had a group that first did it and then they decided not to do it. But my understanding is they're supposed to be starting this road in November possibly.
Mid-November, they have 6 months to complete the project.
So they start in November and get 6 months to finish, and that'd be Keystone, Cannery, and.
And that is November 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Bids have already been offered. I mean, already been approved with the contracts awarded.
What was the third one?
And it says Josh Wells, I don't know where that is. But I gotta drive through Keystone to get to Cannery. So my concern is Keystone and Cannery.
Yeah, and those ones were confirmed to me very recently. Sometimes it has to do with the contract. Different things hold up projects, but I just beg you to just keep waiting. It's going to happen. And I would like to get your phone number, please.
803.
You don't have to tell everybody.
Oh, I don't care because I don't answer that phone anyway unless I know who called. It don't matter.
Let her finish. 803.
469.
Go ahead now.
803-469-3195.
Thank you.
That's my house phone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry.
Anyone else?
For the record, my name is Damian Akiano. I stay in Sumter County as well. I think in the city limits of the county limits, I don't know. Just let me know when I need to start. Oh, okay. April 6th of this year, I was riding my e-bike to Dollar General. I was almost hit by Officer Grant McElvin from the Sheriff County Department. After he almost hit me, came to the street and stopped at the light. He was speeding down the street. I forget the name of the street. I pulled up on him on my e-bike after almost being hit to get this license plate. I didn't have my phone with nothing on me because I was just running to Dollar General right before 10 p.m. I was trying to catch it before it closed. Once I got his license plate number, I went to the store that's right there, the Marathon right there, to go in there to ask for a pen to get it to write his tag number down. Before I can get off my e-bike, which I ride an electric bike that's cleared by the governor and the statutes, he turns into the parking lot, puts his lights on me, to pull me over. He approaches me, they end up arresting me. He ended up making false claims, trying to say I hit his car. Then he said, then the officers came and said I didn't hit his car. He said maybe he was reckless driving. He didn't know. I was transported to the county jail. Upon transported to the county jail, we did 60 down Main Street with no lights on. Coming to the light up there by Lincoln Store, when you're going down Main Street, he hit the he hit him hard on the brakes, causing my back to get pinned by the cuffs, causing spinal damage to my lower nerves on my spine. Yeah, I was then started having back spasms and seizures right in the back of the car. Then I was transported to the hospital premise where I was given a shot in my back, and then I was lifted and put back in the car and took to the county jail. A Upon getting to the county jail, I was picked up, dragged into the county jail, laid on the floor. Everybody thought it was a joke. I started having spasms again. The officers then put me in the cell, stripped me butt naked, and then attempted to tase me on my leg, on my foot one time, on my leg twice, in my groin section twice, on my arm one time. I was tased all together 6 times. Everything is pictures, all video proof. After getting tased, they left me in the cell on the ground. They put a mat next to me, and then left me there all night. Nothing, with nothing. They did not take me to court or anything. Upon that afternoon, they brought the wheelchair and then kicked me out of the facility. This was April 6th. I then left the facility. My wife came and got me. Left the facility, went back to the doctor to get further diagnosed. I'm just now a month and a half walking completely regular to this day, and I want justice. That's all it is.
Thank you, Dr.
I thank you too.
How y'all doing, council members? My name is Matthew White. I'm pretty sure y'all know me a little bit. To give y'all some clarity on the commercials, because I probably think that y'all don't really understand what's really going on. It's been a lot of talk about the penny for progress being talked about by powers of be, so to speak, and then for that commercial to come through, for those two commercials. If y'all look at rap music or in our current culture, I understand it's called sneak this is what they're doing. They're saying basically if you don't vote for the penny, you really not like us, you're not the upper dog. So who's really the upper dog in the scenario when it's really supposed to be for the people? I just want to kind of like give y'all credit for this. Those two commercials really are like sneak this in. And to give you a better understanding, look at Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. And that's where the song came from. So I just want to give y'all some kind of clarity of why people in my age group feel like y'all targeting and trying to make people vote for yes. Because that song is very popular right now. And actually it's going to be at Super Bowl halftime being performed. So I mean, just put that out there. Just giving y'all general public information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White. Anyone else wishing to speak? Hearing now, public comment is over. Mr. Adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we adjourn. All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.